Ms. Stantino?
Present.
Mrs. Fritz?
Here.
Mr. Gibbons?
Here.
Mrs. Gilch?
Here.
Ms. Gore?
Here.
Mr. Marks?
Here.
Mrs. Reese?
Here.
Ms. O'Donnell?
Here.
Ms. Johnson?
Here. Can I please have a motion to approve the minutes for the executive session on August 21st, 2023?
So moved.
Second.
Jen.
Ken,
Jen was first. Or second.
you get that?
I got it.
Yeah, Jen.
Okay, okay.
And I wasn't here.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Stantino?
Yes.
Mrs. Fritz?
Yes.
Mr. Gibbons?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilch?
Yes.
Ms. Gore?
Abstain.
Noted. Mr. Marks?
Yes.
Mrs. Reese?
Yes.
Ms. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes. Can I have a motion to approve the board meetings from regular August 21st, 2023, and the special session August 28th, 2023?
So moved. Second.
Mrs. Johnson, I have amended minutes. The check number that's written in 7.7 should be 130555. I think it's written there 130055. So it's going to be 130555.
Okay, thank you. Roll call, please,
As
Ms.
amended,
Stantino?
right?
as amended.
Thank you.
Yes to August 21st and abstain from August 28th. I was absent, but that was the board goal.
Mrs. Fritz?
Yes.
Mr. Gibbons?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilch?
Yes.
Ms. Gore?
Abstain.
Mr. Marks?
Abstain August 28th, 2023, yes on the bounce.
Mrs. Reese?
Yes.
Ms. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes. At this time, we're going to open the floor to agenda items only. Anyone would like to speak?
Dan, I have a few adjustments to the agenda.
Why don't you announce the adjustments, then we'll get to this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mrs. Fretz, I know you want to speak, but I may say something that you want to talk to. Or it may be totally lucid and you won't want to talk.
I don't know.
Okay? So, I do have a few changes for the board this evening. Let's see if we can be efficient. Under 6.6 G, I wanted to let you know the board initially had been given a list of extracurricular and committee assignments. That list had gone on the first page down about 2/3 of the way, and then it became blank. And in prior years, those blanks were approved by the board. In fact, they're up as minutes in the past, but I think as far as form, it looks more intelligent to make sure that we reference something. What are we paying someone? We're paying where it references back to the current collective bargaining agreement for the teachers, and that's what they would be paid. So I did make that change at the request of the board. I thought it was sufficient to do. So anywhere that there was a blank, so if you got an old agenda from last week and you see that this page, second page would be completely blank. Now it just says as per GTEA contract, which is what we do, what payroll needs to know. Are any questions with that change? All right, well, you still have a chance to have a chance.
Mr. Bilodeau, no numbers changed, correct?
No
employee
numbers changed.
Okay,
No, just
perfect.
wanted to fill the blanks in, Mrs. O'Donnell.
Okay, thank you.
Under 6.6C, if the board were to go to attachment 6.6C, they probably could go there faster than me. About in fact, 8 individuals down from the top. And Nicole Mort, I'd like to remove that, put a line through it. Ms. Mort does in fact want to come and work for Gloucester Township Schools. So That is part of the new department that Mr. Klein heads up, so he needs that individual on his staff, so
Are you moving her to the higher list?
she's already been
Oh, okay.
hired. She was in, yes, yep.
So, no action.
Okay, I have another one. Under 6.6D, which is on the face of the agenda, 6.6D, I'd like to add, the employee number is 0391. The title is Principal's Secretary, Blackwood Elementary School, and the effective date is October 1, 2023. 0391, Principal Secretary, Blackwood, to retirement, effective 10/1/2023. And finally, on 6.6L, the date on the superintendent's contract says it's to July of 2028. Technically, it should be June 30th of 2028. I'll be out of the country in July of 2028. As a sidebar. And that's all the changes, Mrs. Johnson. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So we're gonna hold on.
All right,
No, just change it, July to June.
I got a red X.
okay, Terry?
I had some questions on 7.7B. The first question is that, I reviewed the agreement with the Camden County Improvement Authority on their minutes, and it stated that the agreement pertains to construction and facility services at the school board's request. Could you please, give us specific, information on what those terms are and what that payment schedule is?
I don't think that's right.
It's not 7.
That's the Miranda. You said 7.7B, Terry?
7.7B, yeah.
The Miranda building?
Miranda Building.
Miranda building.
It's the last page of everything.
Oh, B, yeah, B.
And then there's an attachment that's the last page.
Yeah, but in the top it says 7.7.
Yeah.
Says the Gloucester Township Board of Education has approved the one-way facility improvement as required, and it's with the Camden County Improvement Authority. I couldn't find any information on our own minutes or our own website, but I went to 8823, which is on the Camden County Improvement Authority's minutes of their meeting, and that's the information that it had. It said that you have agreed to an agreement, whatever you use them for, you've already made it an agreement, and that you have a payment schedule. So I'm asking you, what are the terms of the agreement? Because that's how it was stated on
Yeah,
there.
do you want me to answer it? I mean, in terms of the agreement, the board approved a contract with them to use as needed, as needed. So tonight, I think they're going to approve, we haven't got to that point yet, 7.7D, which is, I think it's D, B for them to do a cost analysis of demolishing the Miranda building, so.
Okay, and that's what I'm interested in. So when will you know what that cost will be? After you approve that you're going to use them?
They already approved that we were putting it in.
They're gonna do the cost for us, so we don't know what the cost is gonna be. That's why we're approving them to do it.
So you're approving them to do a bid for us? You're approving them to do a bid, or to go out and get a bid for us?
Can I answer?
Is that correct, or it isn't correct? I'm asking.
Yes,
Okay, so they're going to go and they're going to get a bid. So my question is, after they do that, then they're going to charge you some sort of fee for that,
well, this
correct?
board is gonna decide whether they approve it or not.
Okay, well, assume that they do approve it. Is it after they approve it that they determine what it's gonna cost us?
Correct.
No.
No, after they bid it, we'll know what the cost is. Is that what you asked?
No, how much is it gonna cost for them to go out to do the bid?
Well, they would get a fee for demolishing the building, not prior to demolishing the building.
So that, but would they get a fee
Based
for,
on the cost of
taking in the bids like we used to?
No.
Okay, so they're not getting anything
No.
for that. Why is it 5 years? That's a pretty long time.
It's a government entity, so normally you would do a multiple year entity, in case you want to use them in the future. They have certain expertises. I mean, in the city of Camden, they've taken down 2 or 3 schools. That's their expertise.
At the last meeting, at the last monthly meeting, they discussed, they tabled the Miranda building. And they said that the board would get together and they would have a meeting and they would ask questions and get answers. I'd like to know, when did that
Is that an
meeting take
agenda
place?
item?
It's not an agenda item.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we did just meet in exec and we did discuss this.
Okay, so you all met as a whole group and you've already discussed that. Okay, great. And you already answered if we approve it tonight. Do you have any idea about the, you were gonna cap it last time at $500 and some $1,000, has that changed?
Took the
I don't
price
think
off.
Yeah.
there is no cost on it. Once we get a cost, I think the board will then take it into, to negotiation. They'll look at it then.
But we did remove the cap.
There's no cap.
Oh, you removed that.
There's no
Yeah.
cap
Yeah.
at this point.
At this
Yeah,
point,
yeah.
right.
Removed it.
But we reserve the right to implement one later or cap a price at some point.
Or do nothing.
We don't have to accept any.
We have to, exactly,
No, we
or do
do.
nothing.
Yes,
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
Is there any reason that you can't sell the building as is? What prevents you from?
I would
doing
stay
that?
tuned on that one.
What?
I would stay tuned on that one.
Stay tuned on that one?
It's a possibility.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because for $1, you donated a large portion of that property to the township.
Right.
So if you could sell that to them for $1, then I was wondering why you couldn't attempt to at least sell the building for less.
We can.
When they want to knock it down, half a million, she can go to that meeting completely.
Stay tuned.
How much it'll cost.
All right, I don't know what that means, but all right.
It-
What's my other question?
Terry, can you hold off just, let me see if anyone else,
Sure.
does anyone else have any questions on the agenda items? Okay, Terry, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, and the only reason I ask all those questions is because I believe that it's essential to make sure that you've exhausted everything that you possibly can. I know that for 12 years we tried to sell it and that it was up with whoever, I don't know who was trying to sell it, how hard they worked to try to sell it, where was it listed. We don't know any of that, how much were you asking for it, and I understand it didn't sell, but those other factors are important into why it didn't sell or didn't get any people interested at all in it.
Yeah,
And
something.
I think it's important for the town, for the taxpayers to know that you've done everything that you possibly can. So, that's it, I guess.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, the public portion for agenda items is closed. Report of the solicitor, Mr. Long?
My items were discussed in executive session. I have nothing further at this time.
Okay, report of the superintendent, Mr. Bilodeau,
Good
please.
evening, Mrs. Johnson, members of the Board of Education. To begin the superintendent's portion, I had invited back Mr. Hildebrand. Mr. Hildebrand, as you know, is a supervisor of special student support services, and one of his responsibilities is to gather, accumulate, and to report to the New Jersey Department of Education data from our 11 schools in something called the Student Safety Data System. This particular report is the second report of the year. It is, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, for the period January 1st through the end of the school year, which I'll say is approximately June 13th last year. So Mr. Hildebrand is here to address the Board of Education on the findings for that report. So Mr. Hildebrand, welcome again.
Thank you. So basically, as Mr. Bowden said, what this does is collects information, we give it to the state. It has to do with any student that is suspended. This direct report, though, has to do with violence, vandalism, substance use, and weapons within our schools. If you go to the second slide, it breaks it down into subcategories. My office worked very hard with all of the buildings in our district, make sure the information was accurate, consistent across the board, and we submitted this to the state in August. So I'll be back in the spring to go over the same report just from the issues that happened between September and December of this year. And then there's a question too on that.
The only question I had was, there was, in the one comment, I don't have it in front of me here, but it was like the police interaction where it said none alerted and arrested, I believe the three things were, but they all only just said yes or no.
Yes,
Why
so
do we
it's-
not put what it's asking at the top of the column?
So all we do is report if there's any sort of police involvement at all. That's all we have to do to the state. They only ask for any police involvement, and that can be as simple as, somebody in our building is just going up to the SR in the building and just stating like, hey, we had an issue, we had a fight earlier today, and that's all that needs to be done to meet that qualification. So I only put that under there as examples of what police notification is.
Okay,
Because previously, as we talked, what happened was a lot of people were thinking that it had to be an official police report, but I wanted to showcase that that's not what that was.
okay. And then the other question I had was when there's like a one date and there's multiple, underneath it's multiple students for that same
Yes.
interaction.
So one issue, multiple offenders.
Okay.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question, please? What is there like a differential scale on a fight? Like where sometimes it says yes and sometimes it says no?
It's up to the discretion of the building principals to make the decision if they are gonna call the police.
Okay.
That's what you were asking?
Well, some schools say yes for some and some no for
No for
others.
others.
Sure, right.
So it
And it's
does
up to them,
depend
and
like
it
on
has
the
to do with,
the
you know,
severity of the fight,
yeah.
like.
a lot of it is like they look at age appropriateness, if it did warrant it, or,
Okay.
it just didn't need to, and it was, could've been a hit, that was it. And there was an issue, they didn't know how else to categorize it, because the other is, you can categorize it as, two issues of physical violation or something like that, but the fight just seems to fit that incident best. So
Okay.
it's under there, but I didn't need the qualification, meaning false states.
All right, thank you.
Yep. All right, thank you guys.
Anyone else? No, thank you.
No, that's a big fight. Thank you, Mr. Hildebrand. For the balance of my agenda, if I can have the consent resolutions for item 6.2A through 6.6 S. Thank you, Marianne. As amended.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, is there any questions?
I just have one question. For resignations, they have admin, assistant, admin building. Is that something that's posted?
It is.
Oh, it is, okay.
I also had a question regarding, one of the policies. I hate to put you on the spot, Mrs. Johnson, but I'm gonna. The Citizens Advisory Committee, is that something that you and Mr. Bilodeau are having conversations about, or could be interested in, or?
Actually, I saw that today as I was reading the policies, and that was a question I was going to have with Mr. Bilodeau.
So you're in favor?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. We need input.
I'm in favor as
In
well.
order to be a good steward, we need input from the public.
Mr. Bilodeau is making faces at me,
He's
Mrs.
making
Johnson, I'm
faces.
telling on him.
I'm just intently listening.
Okay, yes,
I think it's a great policy.
First time you ever put it on.
okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I had a question on 6.6J. When we have no response, no call, is that the only classification that we use on terminating those people? Because I know that one of the people did respond back, and it says on here that there was no response and no call.
Mr. McConnell?
So these
Don't answer
individuals
specifics, though,
were
although I
individuals
think you
that
should address it.
attended our job fair at the end of June. And we hired close to over 70 individuals from that June job fair. So what takes place is, in our HR department, Desiree Mercado reaches out to these individuals and contacts them over and over again to see if they're going to move forward in the onboarding process. But she also has 70 individuals that she needs to onboard, have their benefits enrolled, and move forward through the process so they can start September 1st. So if they're we put that, just no response or no call.
What if someone declined it, they did respond and declined the job, would that still be classified as no
they're
call?
declined the position. For example, the licensed clinical social worker that we had that's coming back, it said declined the position.
So could it be a mistake that I know that I saw the email this person sent back saying they were declining it and it's on here?
Potentially. Can we address it after and then maybe pass a board resolution once it's rectified and we figure out what happened? Because you can always
we
amend
can't
it.
address it now. No.
Not on somebody individually, on a personnel
I'm not
matter.
bringing up a name, there's multiple names on there.
I understand that, but if you want that changed now, we would have to discuss it publicly. And we can't go back in
I'm not
executive
asking to
session.
change it, I'm just asking for clarification of why it
I
was
gotcha.
classified.
All right.
as-
Well, I'm saying if there was a classification error, we can always fix it. Is the point.
And if you can provide that name to Mr. Gibbons, we'll follow up with that.
I have a question. The, latchkey coordinator, do we know what? Do we have anybody yet? I'll ask it that way. Somebody resigned?
Yes, we had 2 resignations. They have not forwarded names. That was posted within the last 10 days. And it dismisses the board meeting and the agenda deadline. So you'll have somebody on that October board meeting.
But we're okay as we stand right now without that person?
I'm not sure, I'm not involved in the, yes, they have, Mr. Hildebrand can answer. They have assistant site coordinators.
All right, okay.
We've said moving around with assistant site coordinators stepping up, that's part of their role as assistant.
Okay.
Step up and do site coordinators out there.
Okay,
So we're good and we do have candidates on the list.
okay, all right, thank you.
Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Ms. Dentino.
Yes.
Mrs. Fritz.
Yes.
Mr. Gibbons.
Yes.
Mrs. Gilch.
Yes.
Ms. Gore.
Yes.
Mr. Marks.
Yes.
Mrs. Reese.
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell.
I'm gonna abstain. 6.6G, number 3746 and 0593, and yes on the balance.
Noted. Mrs. Johnson.
Yes.
They pass.
The report of the business administrator, Mr. McCauley, please.
Yes, have for the board's approval 7.1 through 7.7, and you'll note that there are 2 months available. We tabled July at the last meeting, so both July and August are both here for the board's review and approval. Other than that, standard items, asking for the board's approval.
Okay. Motion to approve, please?
So moved. Second.
Any questions?
I have some. Alright, so when we're asking the board to approve contracts, is there a way that we can be supplied with the contracts instead of just a small summary of what that is?
Sure. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. And then I had a couple others.
Is there one specific?
Just in general,
Oh.
like, so for the Camden County,
Right.
one that
I
we
just
were
mean if
asked
they
to
approve
approve.
like 20,000 of them, I don't want 20,000 contracts.
No, it was Camden and Services.
Yeah, well, this one here, there's just the one that's
Yeah,
on there,
that's
says
what I was
approving the
asking.
contract, but we've never seen the contract, and we're
Right.
asking to approve it, so I would imagine we wanna see what it is. So for, on invoice 1134617, we paid roughly $3,000 to find the property lines of a school. And I'm just wondering, do we have that on record that we can provide to people already, or why are we spending that much money to find property lines, like, for something that's existed for so long?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what it was. Do you off the top of my head, do you know what it was, what school it was?
I don't.
I thought, I questioned that as well. I think a drone was involved in that for some reason, which is why I did not, question it, but I know exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I also had
You
a
know,
question.
what the vendor is?
It was Panoni.
It's Panoni.
And then there was another Panoni I have a question on as well that we spent, or they spent 26 hours, 3.6K to figure out which water heater that we needed to replace. So I was wondering if there was actually a water heater there before they determined that they needed to spend 26 hours. And it was also from 2021.
Yeah. Is that Union Valley?
It's,
Lily.
Lily.
And it was from 2021.
Lily is for the property line.
Actually, you're gonna get more of them at Lily. We were
And
just
then the
there
hot water
with them
heater.
because we're looking at property lines at Lily right now. You're gonna get more of them.
Can't we just have a survey done? Would
Yeah, I
that be
mean-
easier?
Don't we have surveys?
No, we don't.
You'd think.
No, anytime you're doing anything along the property line, we're looking at things at Lily right now for egress. So, I mean, they gotta look at the property lines. Normally, they get their people out there to establish where they are, unless they've been recently done. You know, I don't know the last time that was done, you know, where they were.
How often do they change? To be recent.
Yeah, I hope they don't. No, I hope they don't. I guess it depends on, you know, what vendor was out there. I mean, they could have done 15 years ago, and now it's a different vendor. They have no idea where the property lines are.
Well, that's what I'm asking. We don't have those to provide to somebody that we can't
You-
save
You'd think we
$3,000.
had monuments on the corners and you
Yeah.
do a straight line.
I think
Chalk.
anytime you're applying for permits, you have to have surveys and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure. Like, I mean, I don't know the process, it's not my profession, but I'm pretty sure that's part of, applying for permits.
We just check what we have and then inform the board members.
Yeah.
Yeah, see if we have any surveys.
Yeah, and the hot water system heater was Lily as well.
The hot water heater was original to the building, Mrs. O'Donnell, and it was unique how they designed it back in 1983 or whatever.
86?
86. It was part of the boiler system, and the engineering was to make it more of an independent system, not reliant on running the boilers all year long.
I understand.
only
I
know
think
that
the concern,
Very generally, that's all. I
Right.
don't know much more detail.
I think the concern is that it says hot water heater selection comparison, 4 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours.
Okay?
That's a lot of comparison going on for hot water heaters.
How
And
many are out
selection,
there?
another,
Typical phone there.
another couple hours for selection. I think that's where my thoughts were going and Mr. Gibbons' questioning is probably going.
Right. Yeah. And then the only other one I had was, I don't know if this is the appropriate time to ask, but it was about the HVAC invoices, and then that's all we had in HVAC. We thought we hired for that, but we're also now posted again for it, so I'm not sure if this is in the right period of time
He's
to ask.
asking about personnel.
Well, to the extent that it's personnel, we can't talk about the individuals. You can talk
No.
generally about the process. Are you talking about generally where we are with hiring?
Is part of the
Guy
reason why
resigned.
there's so
Well, it's on
many
the
invoices.
agenda
was-
as a resignation.
Yeah, that was to help that, and then he resigned. But
Right.
yes, we just got him on board this summer. I thought he was, Sonny's here. I mean, he was a great employee, and then I think he's going somewhere else. So yeah,
But that's part of why there's so
The
many.
point-
there's so
the
many
point is-
invoices for
exactly,
that,
that's
because
the
of
point.
that. Right, okay, that was the question, so.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Any other questions?
I did have one, please. On check number 130961, weatherproofing technologies over at the maintenance garage.
Right.
I just kind of wonder what happened, that the change order's larger than the initial outlay. It said, at least if it's defined, the way it was broken down, it said maintenance garage was like 46,000, and then it says, MG change orders 94,000. It might have
That
been,
doesn't
maybe it was
sound-
just a
that doesn't-
typo.
Yeah, that doesn't sound accurate.
Okay.
Because the original job was to do the roof and the sidewalls of the maintenance transportation building.
Okay.
And then they went down to the lower building where the offices are via the change. And I don't,
So maybe
those
it was
amounts
just
don't-
add-ons that wasn't in the
There-
original scope?
Yeah, I think there's a couple different change orders. One is to paint
exterior walls.
the exterior walls on the actual garage, and then there's
Okay.
another change order for the roof of the actual building. I
Maybe
think there's a couple different ones.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Anyone else?
I have a question. On check 130869, it says Legacy Treatment Services, but then it has a name next to it, like a singled out name. Do we know what that is? Legacy Treatment Services, then it says Mary A. Dobb.
That's a school.
That's the school. All right, sorry. Thank you. I just wasn't, I thought maybe, okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
I just wanted to get that one bill I was talking about for the water heater that was being from 2021. Why are we just getting this now for that water heater? You have any idea?
Yeah, there were a bunch of older invoices that were sent to me to review. I did review them with, Mr. Bildo, I guess, our maintenance director, to go over those things. There's more than that. There was like at least 5, I think we put on there. And the projects were done, so,
From Benoni?
yes.
No, the one I thought that was the only one
Why
I
they
had the
billing
other
us
20.
2 years later?
There was some that were like February of this year. Or
No, there were
May.
old. Yeah, no.
They're
When I say
old,
older
they're
ones,
not-
they were like 6 months older.
Right, this
like-
was 2021.
And 2.
And 2. There's 2 on here too.
There's another one for
You're
20?
talking about 12/9/21.
Yes.
No, I don't know about that.
Isn't there a statute of limitations on how long they can bill us?
I don't know.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Only lawyers do that. I don't know. It's easy now.
Nobody's asking about me.
So, do we know why they're billing us 2 years later, Mr. Bilodeau?
I don't know the total story. I do believe there was a bit of a dispute with some of the billings with the former business office, and I believe they rectified some of
I
them,
thought there
and
were
then
some
they
that were on
resent.
hold
They
from a while
resent
ago, I
them,
remember.
yes, and then I provided them to Mr. McCoy. And then he in turn asked Mr. Mercado about the project, so now they're on the bill list.
So if there was a dispute about the bill, did we get a credit somewhere? Or you're
I
just,
believe they corrected them based upon the dispute.
got it. Okay.
Any more? Anyone else? No. Roll call, please.
Check them. Ms. Dentino,
Yes.
Mrs. Fritz,
Yes.
Mr. Gibbons,
I'm gonna vote no on check 130758. I have check 130895. Yes on the balance.
noted. Mrs. Gilch,
Yes.
Ms. Gore,
Yes.
Mr. Marks,
Yes.
Mrs. Reese,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson.
Abstain on 7.5A. And check number 130766. Yes on the balance.
Noted. They pass.
All right, if we have any old business?
Noted.
None? How about any new business?
I did want the board, well, the board did know this, but for everyone in the room's information, in the middle of the spring, I don't know what May 1st is, but by May 1st, the Board of Education had an opportunity to put in for ROD grants through the New Jersey Department of Ed Office of School Facilities. ROD is an acronym for Regular Operating Districts. At the then time, the board was shorthanded in the transition in the business office. Yet the staff who we had there was given a directive, and they certainly answered the bell. We put in over $17 million of grant requests for the board. Pleased to report that we received the 6th highest award in the state of New Jersey. The state is giving district about a little less than $8 million.
251 awards, and we were the 6th highest.
251, 6th highest. So a considerable amount of this, if not all of it, is to improve air quality in our schools in the form of air conditioning and new equipment. So it's a good partnership with the state of New Jersey, and I know that it was a good task for our business administrator and his assistant to find the $9 million we need to match the $8 million the state's going to give us. But I'm confident that we will be able to do that and improve our buildings. The second item is the state has a monitoring process called New Jersey CUSAC. I have been informed that the Gloucester Township Public Schools is on the cycle for this year. I did reach out to the New Jersey CUSAC office to get the forms. They have yet to post them, so once they are posted, there'll be more to follow. Mrs. Johnson, I will need someone to be on that New Jersey CUSAC committee from the board. I'll also need some people from the unions on that committee as well.
Okay.
So we look forward to addressing that challenge and hopefully getting a passing score.
Fantastic.
All right.
Sounds
That's
good.
it.
All right. Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak at this time?
Get Dina and have it.
Dina?
Hi, sorry I was late before. We had cross-country and flag football. Dina Hendry, Summerdale. When was the last time the policy team met as a committee?
Was that July?
In August. Was it
Early
August?
August. It must have been early August then. Oh, yeah, when I came back.
Approximately early August.
Yeah.
Early August.
2023.
Okay, if I kindly recall, in January and February, there was a concern with parents, in a meeting, with our policies and our discipline, and we were told that that there was gonna be changes, and that the policy was gonna change, and you guys were working towards that. Unfortunately, the children have received a policy, a code of conduct policy that is still dated from 2019. And that's really concerning because these concerns have been brought to the board numerous amounts of times and nothing has been done. I know that it takes time and I know that this is a volunteer position. I honestly do. But these are our children and these are our teachers that need our help, because if we don't have policies that protect our students and our teachers, how can we enforce and have an accurate violence report? That is really a shame that we have started this school year and our HIB policy is the same exact HIB policy that it states that it doesn't protect all children and only protects those that are listed in the HIB report from 2019. We need policies that protect all children, and we don't have that. And it's really disheartening that we have started this new year and it's not changed. We have social media that children are being bullied and nothing is being done. I really entrust this board to do what's right and act fast and act swiftly. And whether you have to have a meeting every month to get it right, let's go. What are we waiting for? Thank you.
Thank you. Patty?
All right, Patty McBride, GTA resident. I have two things.
Oh, I'm
Just
sorry,
gonna
Patty.
address that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's
You
okay.
wanted to answer?
Yeah, because the policy.
Board member comments.
Okay, can you hold it for board member comments, please? Okay,
Okay, I have,
go ahead.
are we good?
Yes.
Two things. The, item that you talked about, Mr. Bildo, was, I guess, approved by Mr. Murphy on September 7th. And it says there was 261 districts that got that money, and you stated it, because I have it all written out here, and we got over 8 million. Is there a plan for a committee or some kind of transparency with where that funding is going to go? Air conditioning, upgrading the facilities, is there going to be a plan with that? And my next question also has to deal with funding the ESSER money. Is there a deadline for when that money needs to be spent? And is there going to be accounting for the ESSER money that has been put out through the district? Thank you.
Let's answer those questions.
Sure.
Yes, we certainly can be transparent on the actual applications that were submitted to the state of New Jersey. And so we certainly can talk during the week on where they are targeted, what buildings are targeted, what projects are targeted. And actually, Mr. McCall, do you want to answer on the ESSER? I know that we've been given different.
Yeah, I mean, ESSER 2 ends September 30th, and our ESSER 2 is completely spent, so we could probably tell you exactly what that was spent on. We'll be doing the final report probably, I guess, within the next month. ESER 3 spends September 30th of 2024, which was much larger. I mean, we can tell you what we spent to date, and there's still a lot of money that still needs to be spent. I think there's easily $5 million more that needs to be spent. The majority of that, though, was in facilities. So actually supporting the HVAC stuff.
So with this facilities money, I would hope that the board would look at air conditioning, since we just went through that nice little heat spell. I mean, we greatly appreciate the half days and the early hours and things like that. It was greatly appreciated by our staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty.
Anyone else? Terry?
Last month I asked this board about policy 7510, and I was told that we were going to review that and make a decision on it. And I'm wondering if the policy committee met in the last month in order to review policy 7510, where it says that the school board is not allowed to have any functions in the buildings or in the field.
They didn't.
So did they meet in the last month?
No.
We have not met in the last month.
Okay, well, they didn't meet in the last month then. Can I ask when are they going to review that? Because, as I mentioned at the last meeting, it took a long time to get this videoed, and I don't want to wait another 7 years to get an answer to this particular question.
Can you have a meeting, please?
We will be having a meeting in the next few weeks or so.
Okay. There'll be a meeting in the next few weeks. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Dina Hendry, Summerdale again. We have a physician that does physicals, or a physician that works for the district, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Could that physician also perform physicals for our student athletes? Like, can we have, like, say for instance, granted, I went to school in the 90s, so it's probably different, but I remember when I went to school, the kids who did swimming, they had all certain times that they would come down to the nurse's office to do a physical by the school's physician, as opposed to burdening the parents to go run out, pay the $5 for them to sign it, or a copay. Like, if we have a physician on staff, we can't have them do the physicals?
We don't have a physician on staff. We do have a physician of record, but he's not on staff.
So then what is his purpose? Or her purpose? Their purpose?
Under 18A, the laws that govern the state, every district must have a physician. Our physician is Dr. Darrell Kim. He's been with us for a few years. And I'd like to reference to the 1990s version of physicals. I think that has decidedly changed. Most parents and guardians prefer to go to their own pediatricians for at least our experience in this district. And however, if there was some prohibition to that, meaning cost, our physician would, with the assistance of the middle school nursing staff, offer a physical.
Do parents know that? Because I
Yep.
had saw,
Yep. It's on the website.
but at the same time, as much as some of us are very knowledgeable in navigating the website, some parents are not in the know, especially 6th grade parents who are new to this whole, athlete thing, and they didn't know that they had to go. I think that if it was out in the open, saying, hey, listen, if you can't get, and I agree with you, I want my son to be seen by my physician, but at the same time, it should be an opt-in or an opt-out, and also it should be public knowledge that it's there for them, but it's not.
I thought that was on the
John, don't we have something with like Inspira or something that they do, a program?
We recently had discussed this topic and had updated some of the comments we have on the district's website. I think that this communication might be better served if I work with the middle school principals and the athletic directors and then the coaches, and the paperwork that we disperse to our student athletes. It clearly states whatever sport you're playing, whether a fall, winter, or spring, that we make it abundantly clear that if you have a problem with a physical, then the district resources are available to that child. So that would be my answer, Ms. Hendry.
Yeah, I mean, it says your own physician, and like, they just didn't know, and it's just a shame that a kid would miss out on a chance to play sports because either A, the parent didn't know, or B, they didn't have the means to get them a physical.
Right. I don't have an example that I can cite that we've ever prevented someone because of a physical not to participate. I think your point is valid. I have asked our nurses, our head nurse this year, and it really wasn't a matter of cost, it was a matter of getting into that pediatrician. And we were willing, so that student could participate in that sport. We were willing, and Dr. Kim was willing, as an accommodation of schedule, to do that physical. I think that got rectified.
Okay, awesome.
We did want to be pro student there and let them, and pro sports. But I don't have an example that someone, nor would I really want to say it publicly, of someone who doesn't have the means, we would accommodate that, and we would be very discreet about it.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, anyone else wish to speak? Seeing none, public portion for any item is closed. Do we have any board member comments?
So just to go back and address the discipline policy issue in the policy meeting, we are meeting as a policy committee within the next few weeks. The update to the discipline and the code of conduct has been ongoing probably all summer, and from when we spoke about it in the spring. So it is something that we have worked on, edited and worked on, and are in the processes, I would say, kind of a finalizing all that. So just kind of stay tuned, and we will receive that shortly.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, it is a very long process.
I can echo what Kia said. I've been in all those meetings, and we brought in staff as well for input, and it's an ongoing process. And I don't know, are we allowed to say that?
Not quite yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's things that stopped us
there's
from.
There's variables.
Right. Yeah. There's things, but rest assured, it is in the works, and it is. Yeah, it is a priority, and we all agree that we'd like it out, but sometimes things happen. But also, I echo your doctor comment. I've been having that discussion, and Mr. Bildo will tell you I basically said exactly what you said there, and agree. I know it was not made clear that about what is it called? A medical home, I think is what the wording is in this statute, and we kind of stop the communication at a certain point in the sentence and then don't say the rest of it. And I don't know that it has been corrected, but I believe that it is corrected. I know Mr. Bildo was working with the head nurse, I believe it was, to get that updated. So.
Yep, it has been. So.
Yeah. And and thank you everyone for coming out.
Anyone else?
I have one. I'm not a board member. Can I speak?
You're an ex parte.
It's a board member. It's a board member. Yeah, I am ex parte.
You're ex parte.
Okay.
Right.
All right, go ahead.
Just wanted to state, because I've done this anytime one of our board members has gotten there, but board members, as Mrs. Hendry said, they don't get paid a lot of money for the role they're in. They get a lot of grief for the role they're in, and it is thankless probably most of the year. But with that said, they continue to do what's best for the kids in this district and all of you in this room. So over and above that, they continue to go and get academy credits from New Jersey school boards. You can achieve certain milestones. Mrs. Dentino has achieved the milestone of master board member, so she joins that. So I would just want to recognize that.
Congratulations. Okay. I also have something to say. Tonight we had two policies, 2520 and 2520R. Instructional supplies. Okay, so it says the Board of Education shall provide staff members with supplies and materials necessary for the successful implementation of the instructional program and provide students with the supplies and materials required for successful completion of course of study. So I'm a Facebook freak, and I go on Facebook, and there's this lady that's saying that she was asking for help. She had fallen on hard times. She had 2 children that had lists of school supplies that were needed. So I managed to get a copy of that. So she has 2 children, a 1st grader and a 4th grader. I'm not going to say what school, but I understand that every grade in the school has the same thing. So when my kids went to school, I remember they come home with their list and they needed pocket folders and they needed copybooks and they needed whatever. So I looked at the list, and the 1st grader needed a pencil case, headphones, 1 pocket folder, a marble copybook. Now, most of them can be purchased in the dollar store, let's face it. However, they needed 5 dry erase markers, 1 clean sock or a dry eraser, and 5 large glue sticks. Okay? So the 4th grader now needed a pencil case, earbuds. Now, with the headphones and earbuds, you either buy them at the dollar store and they last for a week and a half, or you buy them at $100 and hope your kid doesn't lose them. All right, so that's that.
I like the dollar store.
1 pocket folder, highlighters, a red, blue, or colored pen, extra pencils, 1 pack for the class. Okay? 2 glue sticks, 2 4-pack dry eraser markers, a dry eraser or a sock, and colored pencils or crayons. Now, I'm sorry, but a glue stick, if you go to Target and you buy a glue stick, you're going to pay $1.99. If we order, you might pay 44 cents if you buy in bulk. No parent, in my opinion, no parent or teacher should be buying these kind of supplies that are going to be used for the classroom. Individuals, that's one thing. But if it's to be used in the classroom, the district should be supplying it.
Okay.
Okay.
I agree.
And I'm off my soapbox. Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I didn't take notes because I was so intent on listening. I know.